Welcome to One on One, where we get to talk to some of the industry's top leaders in sports media and sports technology. Today, joining the podcast is Wayne Kimmel. Wayne is managing partner at 76 Capital, chairman of 76 Capital Sports Advisory. Welcome to the podcast, Wayne.
Thanks, Rick. I'm really excited to be here.
You started this venture back in 1999. How did it start? What was the impetus? And tell me a little bit about the journey.
You know, getting into the world of venture capital was something that was absolutely incredible. I really thought that after graduating law school and going into the practice of law, that's what I was going to go do. But then, you know, this opportunity to, you know, back and get behind entrepreneurs who were doing the next thing in consumer tech and health tech and all those incredible things that were happening at the time was just too enticing, and I just had to go for it. So, you know, in 1999, I raised $20 million for my first venture capital fund and started investing in companies like Seamless Web, which is now part of Grubhub. Now, you know, the healthcare clinics you see inside of Walgreens, that was one of the first things that we also invested into, you know, back then. And, you know, but fast forwarding to where we are today, you know, 7 years ago, we recognized at 76 Capital, my partners, Chad Stender, John Powell, and myself, really recognized that there was this opportunity to invest in the sports industry. We recognized that the sports industry hadn't been disrupted like all the other industries out there that we had been investing in with tech, data, and analytics. And that was the opportunity that we saw. And that's why we've, you know, gone out and invested in the companies that we have in the sports industry.
When you look at the investments you've made, let's talk about the last few years. What are some of the highlights that you kind of want to call out?
You know, looking at the overall landscape of sports betting, sports tech, you know, esports and gaming. I mean, it's just amazing to see how the world of tech and the world of sports have come together, this incredible convergence of these amazing things. And, you know, it's one of the things that's just been awesome for us to get behind entrepreneurs who are truly doing the next thing. So whether it's a Brian Musburger and Brent Musburger, the legendary sports broadcaster who created, you know, VSiN, the sports betting network, and being the investors behind them and helping them, you know, build that company and then eventually selling that to DraftKings was amazing. Getting behind an amazing entrepreneur in Sam Ratner and then bringing in, you know, just a tremendous team of people at Vigtory, and then selling that company to Fubo TV was amazing as well. And most recently, as you know, Rick, I mean, certainly from a little bit of, you know, help from TurnkeyZRG and bringing in Carlos Silva to help run our company, to run. You know, I'm sorry, as I was talking so fast, I was getting
C360 was a great
60. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You know, with Carlos coming in with C360 and being able to, you know, the company that does the incredible pylon cams, those amazing views when you see that, you know, that quarterback or running back diving for a first down and you get that great view from those amazing cameras. That was another great deal that we're excited about. And there's so much more that we're doing across sports betting and sports tech and esports today that we really believe are really pushing the future and making the sports world even better.
One of the things I'm really intrigued by is companies that you've made investments in around integrity of betting, you know, and the integrity of sports betting, what's happening on the college landscape, and how, you know, the companies that you've made these investments in are going to market and helping both the betting companies as well as the leagues kind of manage and identify any trends or any, you know, ill will that's happening, you know, in the community. Talk about those investments.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, as you said, over the last, you know, 5 years since sports betting has become legal outside of the state of Nevada, we looked at that opportunity at 76 Capital and said, what are the areas that we believe that we can help innovate in? You know, how can we help really transform and push things forward? So we looked at the tech side, we looked at data, we looked at analytics. and not only looked and invested in these areas, invested in media, invested in integrity, invested in compliance, invested in personalization and customization across all of the sports betting industry. And specifically, you touched on integrity. We're so proud to be investors in U.S. Integrity. They are the integrity provider for all of the major leagues, the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, NHL, PGA Tour, NASCAR. I don't want to leave anyone out, but pretty much every single league that's out there today, including a lot of the challenger and emerging leagues that are coming out, to really be that integrity provider, to make sure that everything's on the up and up, and make sure that this industry, which, as the American Gaming Association just came out with, that $220 billion has been bet in the last 5 years in the regulated legal sports betting industry. And of that $220 billion, this is the part that's just as fascinating, Rick, is that $100 billion was bet within the last year. So when we really look at what the future is going to hold for this industry, you have to make sure that everything's on the up and up. That's also why we're investors in Odds On Compliance. Mm-hmm. That's another company. And actually, Odds On Compliance and U.S. Integrity have a joint venture now called ProAbet, to make sure that professional players are not betting on their games. And we are building this technology solution to hopefully completely ensure that is not even possible anymore through the technology that we're building together under this company called ProAbet. So it's really exciting to see these incredibly smart people like Matt Holt, the CEO of U.S. Integrity, and Eric Frank, the CEO of Odds On Compliance, coming together, creating solutions to make the industry better. Then you have, an incredible company called Epoxy.ai that's looking at the customization and personalization side of the sports betting industry. I mean, today, most of the apps look very similar. Today's apps are very much like, you turn on your app, I turn on my app, they look the same. Mm-hmm. But, there should be some kind of a difference here, right? If you're a Yankees fan, right? I think,
Mets.
Oh my God, I got that wrong. I was so close. But you're a Mets fan. I'm a Phillies fan, right? When your app, when you open one of your apps, whether it's FanDuel, DraftKings, the new Fanatic app, whatever it is, right? You should be presented with things that you're interested in. Just right. Like when you turn on you open Amazon, your Amazon, app looks different than mine. Mine may right. say that I'm out of, toilet paper at home or something like that. And yours may say you need some more, new types of technology that you were looking at recently or something. These are the types of things that the amazing companies like Amazon have figured out over time. But because we're so early, and this is another point that I'd love to stress, Rick, is that because we're so early in the overall sports betting world, where we just had the 5th year anniversary, we had a great event with the American Gaming Association, celebrating that, and we're only 5 years in. So we have a lot of time to innovate. We have a lot of time to really, and another word I think we should really talk about, another big thing is education. You talked about, earlier about the idea that, there's been so many changes, and NIL and the whole college and NCAA side of things. Education is so important across all this. Really understanding how the sports betting industry works and how it actually, truly can help enhance the overall sports industry.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is that we are so early in this journey of sports betting, and you've got states like Texas and California that aren't even online yet, 2 huge states. So the future is bright, but it needs the assurances that there's integrity behind it, to continue to use that word, because that's the critical part. Once that falls through, then everyone is suspect to, who knows what kind of insider information. And I think the companies that you're investing in help to combat that. When you and your team evaluate opportunities, are you looking at the idea? Are you looking at the revenue opportunity, the EBITDA opportunity, the exit opportunity? Are you looking at the leader, the market? What are the key factors that drives a decision for you to write a check?
Well, for our team here at 76 Capital, all those areas are important. But, the main driver for us, because we are such early stage investors and many times startup investors in companies where it's the entrepreneur or a couple of the entrepreneurs, a bunch of co-founders have come together to create this business. For us, it's about that person. It's about that group. It's about the people behind the business. We want to make sure that we get behind entrepreneurs that are smart, that are really good people and nice people, and have the big idea and are going to go after this market across the sports industry and truly want to change the way things are being done and transform the industry. So it really starts with that person. That person is something that, we have to spend a lot of time with. I mean, these aren't companies that are going to go public in 12 months.
Right.
We'd love that to happen. We love those types of businesses, but those are once in a lifetime type opportunities, even if they even happen. I mean, even some of the fastest tech companies, that went public, it takes 3, 4, 5, sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 years to actually get to a really large enough business to go public or to sell for a really big multiple. So we end up spending a lot of time with these entrepreneurs. So we want to know who they are. We want to know what they're about. We want to be able to have a great relationship with them. We go through a lot of their life moments with them, whether that's engagements, whether that's weddings, having their first child, having grandchildren. I mean, there's all sorts of things that we experience with our entrepreneurs, and we just want to make sure that they are the kind of people that we want to bring into the overall 76 Capital family.
You're the Kevin Bacon of the sports industry. You've even written a book, 6 Degrees, correct?
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the book. What was the impetus for that? And again, you're an outstanding marketer. You're an outstanding sports technology kind of evaluator. But what prompted you to kind of lean into this book concept?
Several years ago, I wrote this book, 6 Degrees of Wayne Kimmel. It was all about the journey that I had. Actually, it was right before we really turned the ship at 76 Capital to go solely into the sports industry. And excuse me, and I had so many entrepreneurs and people and young people that were asking me, what is the secret sauce so that, at 76 Capital, what do you and your team do? And I said, it's all about the relationships. It's all about the people. It's a way for you to think about how you can actually be more and more successful. So I would have this conversation and I would give a lot of talks, but I just felt like it was important just to write it all down and see if I can give back and help as many people as possible. And, my main message through that whole book was go out there every single day and think of yourself as an entrepreneur and meet as many people as possible, create as many, get as many contacts as possible, and then try to turn those contacts into relationships over time and help people, and help others with those, when you just happen to, it's not about just you. It's about helping others and trying to make this world a better place. And that's what it's all about for me and for our team at 76 Capital. We one of the reasons why we do the types of events that we do and why we have our, This Week in Sports Business that comes out every Sunday, our newsletter, why we do our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. It's to give back and help and bring together the sports industry. I know we're going to talk a little bit about, some things in a little bit about, but the whole idea is bringing together all the right people to try to really do some amazing things across the sports industry.
What do you look for? You brought Dan Bravado on to run 76 Capital Sports Advisory. What do you look for in executives that you want to work with? Not people that you want to invest in, but the people that you want to bring to the team, the Chris Yortzos of the world, the Dan Bravados of the world. What do you look for in those types of executives?
I think one of the big things that, I look for is the hustle, right? Is the passion. We're all about, and it's very similar. These types of traits are very similar to the types of traits that professional athletes need to have, or the types of traits that we look for with the people that we surround ourselves with at 76 Capital, people that have the incredible, passion, desire, drive, and resiliency, right? I mean, it's all about, because just like in sports, you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get tackled, you're going to get, smashed to the ground. You may not physically get banged up in business, but there are times where things just don't go your way and things are not perfect. So, when we look at, people that are in our, that we want to bring into our business, we want to bring in people that have those traits, that are okay with, every time that Dan and Chris go out on our 76 Capital Sports Advisory business, that, we want to work with every single team. We want to work with every league. We want to work with every brand, every family office out there, and bring them, the knowledge that we have and help them around all the emerging areas across sports. But we're not going to get everyone. And there are going to be times where we're going to pitch somebody and it'll be a little disappointing, or we'll be working with a client or a league and we'll try to do a deal with and for them and it won't work out exactly as we want. But we have to be able to be resilient, be able to get up off the mat, get off the ground and keep moving forward. And that's a really important thing that we talk about, here at 76 Capital, is just keep moving forward, trying to keep making it happen every single day. And that's what it's all about, right? It's moving forward and trying to make progress all the time. You're not not every single time it's going to work out, but you try to make progress all the time.
When you you think about the successes, the exits that you've had, everyone always wants to talk about the VSINs and the victories and C360s, but is there a deal or two that you can talk about that got away, or that you said, nah, this is not the right investment, and then 3 years later you're like, damn, I should have made that investment?
Look, we're just venture capitalists. I say that all the time. We're very entrepreneurial, venture capitalists. We get very excited. And of course, once we invest in a company, we jump on their side of the table and we want to make everything happen, with and for them. But look, there's no straight line to the top for any of these companies. I mean, there certainly are times, and have been times over the last 20 plus years of being in the venture business, where there's companies that we didn't invest in. Some cases we didn't invest in because we didn't believe that we could work with that entrepreneur. We didn't think that we actually could do more than just put our capital in, because that's a big part of what we do. We're really all about not only just our capital, but it's like, how can we help you as an entrepreneur move your business forward? So there are those types of situations, and then there's the market, right? I mean, I think there's it's amazing. One of the things that, and it talk about resiliency, as we were talking about earlier, really getting up and keep moving forward. And I think that's an overall conversation right now that we can all have around the esports industry. I mean, COVID really, knocked down that industry in a big way. Things were really moving quickly. Leagues were occurring. People were getting together and going to those events, and it was really starting to happen. And then COVID and, just shut everything down from a live events perspective around the esports industry. And now people are running away from it. Well, I don't think you can run away from the fact that 200 plus million people are still playing games, and kids want to compete, and colleges are giving scholarships. I think there's an opportunity to really, revive and bring back that side of the world. So that's an area that we're focused on, and we're trying to work, to move that forward. But that's an area that's been knocked down pretty hard. And, but we still really believe in it because of all the factors that I just mentioned. So it's a thing, you gotta hang in there. These things don't just happen overnight. I mean, that's overnight successes are just, we all know that's not a real thing in the world of business, and certainly in sports as well. I mean, people don't have, just talent and all of a sudden they end up in the NBA. They work really damn hard to, hone their craft to be able to play at that level. Because there's some really good basketball players that are playing on, a bunch of, courts all over the country right now, but they're not NBA players because they don't have the same level of dedication and that's what's really needed to be able to play at the highest of levels. And that's the same thing in business.
Finally, are there other trends that you're looking at now over the next 12 to 24 months that you and the team are focused on in terms of potential investment opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, for us, again, we still think there's a huge opportunity across the sports betting industry. I think there's one of the biggest trends and one of the biggest things that we can do. I mean, this is where TurnkeyZRG and you and Len and your whole team are tremendous with is this opportunity to bring together the gaming industry, the casino, sports betting world, and the sports world, bringing together these people, right? Enabling to develop incredible relationships between the two. Without the games themselves, without the leagues, there's no sports betting, right? So you need to, and now we're able to have those relationships. 5 years ago, if you were a sports executive, you weren't allowed to place a bet. You weren't allowed to walk into a casino. You weren't allowed to go into a sports book. Now there's rules and regulations around that. There are, ways for you to actually, do business within that world. And that's something that we believe will really bear fruit in the future. We're really excited about how close, and what a great job, the major leagues have done and embracing the sports betting industry. Now it's coming down to the teams, to the conferences in the NCAA, the overall NCAA, and really thinking about how this is all going to work out, how this is going to all drive revenue for everybody, and make sure that we do this in a responsible way. It's one of the reasons why, we're partners with the American Gaming Association in their Have a Game Plan initiative, because we believe that, I believe we're the only financial institution that's part of it with them. With many of the leagues, they just recently announced the WNBA and many other, all the top leagues are involved with this with them. We think that it's important to make sure that everyone does this in a responsible way. But it's possible, and it's really possible. It's possible to do it right. It's possible to make a lot of money around all of this, and really engage fans, bring more people into the world of sports. And we're super excited about that. We think that that's where, there's great opportunity for, as we were talking about earlier, the customization of the apps, the personalization of the different apps, how you actually, will interact with the gaming industry is something that we're just getting going on, and the future is really bright.
Top of the first inning still. Thanks, Wayne. I really appreciate you joining us today. Your insights are always welcome and on point. You guys have obviously had success, and I'm sure we'll continue to have success going forward. I've enjoyed working with you and the team as well, and look forward to doing many more things together. Thanks again.
Thank you. It's so exciting. One thing we didn't touch on, but I just got to mention it real quick, Rick, is the fact that, the biggest technology companies in the world, Google, Amazon, Meta, all of them, right? Apple, are playing in such a huge role in the world of sports now. And so that really opens up so many opportunities for entrepreneurs who are truly building the next new innovative thing. And I think that's just a really exciting thing and opportunity for all of us in the sports industry.
Thanks, man. Well, listen, I'm proud to be 1 degree of separation from you. So I appreciate the time today. Thanks again.